Hello, my loves. Dahlia Voss here. I was getting the studio ready when I heard a knock at the door. A very careful knock. The kind that makes you wonder if the person outside is already considering changing her mind. So I told her to come in. The door opened slowly, and there she was, Evelyn, standing in the evening light with one hand still on the door, a small ivory box held against her chest. For a second, she didn't move. She just looked at me, then at the studio behind me, and finally, she stepped inside. She was dressed like a woman who'd rehearsed the day 100 times. An elegant dark wrap dress, pearl earrings, dark hair pinned with the kind of precision that usually means someone is trying very hard not to come undone. She placed the ivory box carefully on the table beside her chair, then moved in front of my camera. At first, she tried to pose, shoulders straight, hands still, a small, polite smile. But her eyes kept drifting back toward that box, again and again, as though part of her was still trapped inside it. So I lowered the camera for a moment and asked what was inside. She opened it. A wedding veil, folded with more care than it had ever been given a chance to earn, never worn long enough to become a memory. I lifted my camera again, and before the first photograph, I asked her the question I always ask. What happened? She looked straight into the lens and told me about the night she appeared at another woman's door, still wearing the dress she was supposed to marry someone else in. Her name is Evelyn. This is her story. Before you shut the door, I need you to know the wedding is over. Not postponed, June. Not something I'm reconsidering tomorrow morning once I've slept on it. It's over. I know how I look right now. I know what time it is. And I know I'm standing outside your apartment in a wedding dress, soaked through, holding my shoes in one hand like I've lost whatever dignity I started the night with. Maybe I have. But I didn't come here because I had nowhere else to go. I came because this was the only place I wanted to be. Please, don't look at the dress. Word at me. You haven't said anything yet. You're still holding the door like you're trying to decide whether I'm really here. I didn't run during the ceremony. I didn't leave him standing at the altar with no explanation. I spoke to him before the vows. I told him the truth. Not all of it. Not your name. That part was never his to have. But I told him I couldn't promise him a life when every promise I'd rehearsed sounded like it belonged to somebody else. To you. May I come inside? You don't have to forgive me. You don't even have to believe me yet. Just please don't make me say the rest of this in a hallway. Not after it took me this long to finally stand at your door. No, I'm not cold. That's a lie. I'm freezing. But I think that has less to do with the rain than with the way you're looking at me right now. You think I came here because the wedding became real, and I panicked. I understand why you'd think that. I've spent years making fear look like certainty. You want to know if I loved him. I cared for him. I respected him. And I wanted so badly for that to be enough that I built an entire life out of wanting it. He was kind. Our families approved. The photographs would have looked beautiful. Every decision made sense the moment I wrote it down. Venue, flowers, guest list, house. But every time someone asked if I was happy, I thought of you, and then I lied. You've gone quiet. You're watching me like you're waiting for the part where I ask you to fix this. I'm not, June. I'm not asking you to become the place I hide from what I've done. I'm not asking you to comfort me because I made a hard decision. I made the decision before I came here. The wedding is canceled. The guests were told. My family knows. He knows. There's nothing left for you to rescue me from. I came here after everything was already broken, because for once, I wanted the next choice I made to be an honest one. You want the whole truth? All right. The truth is, I thought of you while I was choosing the flower. I turned down white roses because you once told me they looked like apology. I picked the music and remembered dancing with you in your kitchen the night the power went out, when neither of us wanted to admit we were afraid of the dark. You stepped on my foot 3 times. You blamed a floor. When they pinned the dress for the final fitting, I remembered your hands fixing the strap of my gown before the winter gala. You stood so close. I could feel your breath on my shoulder. I wanted you to touch me again. You didn't. You were always careful with me, more careful than I deserved. At the rehearsal, they asked me to practice my vows. I looked at him and the words wouldn't come, because every sentence started with your face. Every promise I tried to make him sounded like one I'd already made you, without ever saying it out loud. To choose you, to come back to you, to finally tell you the truth, even if it frightened me. I left the room and called you. Do you remember? You didn't pick up. I was relieved, because if I'd heard your voice that night, I would have told you everything, and I was still too much of a coward to survive your answer. So I went back inside, smiled for the photographs, finished the rehearsal, and hated myself for calling that silence loyalty. Ask me again. Ask me what you were about to ask. Am I here because I chose you, or because yours was the only door still open? You have every right to wonder that. I didn't know you'd let me in. I stood downstairs for 11 minutes, watching the light in your window, bracing myself for you to close the door in my face. I would have understood, but I still would have come. Even if you hated me, even if you told me I was too late, even if the only thing you let me do was say this once before sending me away. I didn't choose you because you were available. I avoided you because choosing you would have changed everything. That's why I stopped calling, why I turned down dinner, why I let your messages sit there until they felt too hard to answer. Being near you made the life I'd planned feel impossible. And instead of admitting that, I punished you for it. I let you believe our friendship mattered less to me than it did. I watched you pull back, and I let you. I thought the distance would make this smaller. It didn't. It just made every room feel emptier. I didn't leave my wedding because I was afraid of marrying him. I left because I finally understood that every day I stayed silent was another day I chose fear over you. No, don't come closer yet. I need you to hear the rest of this before either of us touches the other. I ended the engagement without knowing if you'd ever speak to me again. I gave the ring back. I spoke to his parents. I called mine. And I've accepted that tomorrow brings questions, rumors, photographs I'll never be able to take back. I did all of that before I came here. Not because I expected you to reward me for it. Not because I thought one dramatic gesture could undo what I did to you. I did it because marrying him would have been a lie. Even if you never forgive me, ending it was still the right choice. You're not responsible for what I walked away from, and you're not required to become whatever comes next. I want you to, more than I can explain, but I won't put that weight on you. If you ask me to leave, I'll leave. If you need time, I'll give it to you. If all you can offer me tonight is a towel, a dry coat, and the chance to apologize, I'll take it, and I'll be grateful. But please don't think I came here looking for somewhere safe. You've never felt safe to me. Not in the easy sense. You've always been the one person who could see everything I tried to hide. That's why I was afraid of you, and why I'm finally standing here. You're coming closer. No, I'm not asking you to stop. Your hand, you're taking the pin out of my hair. I'd forgotten it was even still there. There are more, too many probably. The stylist said the veil had to stay perfectly still, and once it started, everything had to stay still. My hair, my hands, my expression, me. And now you're undoing it. one pin at a time. That's better. You always knew when I was pretending to be fine, even when everyone else believed me completely. May I touch you? Just your hand. Thank you. I missed this. Not the touching. I was never brave enough for that. I missed being close enough to know when you were about to smile. The little breath you take before you say something you know will annoy me. The way your thumb moves when you're nervous. It's moving now. Are you nervous because I'm here, or because you want me closer? You don't have to answer that yet. Although the way you're looking at my mouth is becoming a little difficult to misread. June, before anything else, I need to ask you properly. May I kiss you? Because you want me to? Say it again. Please. Then come here. I imagined that so many times. None of them felt like this. No, don't move away. Not yet. Let me look at you. I spent years believing that if I ever kissed you, everything would become impossible. But this is the first thing that's felt honest in a very long time. May I kiss you again? Slower this time? June. I didn't run from my wedding. I ran toward the only woman I've ever truly chosen. You don't believe one night can prove that. I know. It can't. So don't forgive me tonight. Don't promise me forever. Don't make this easier just because I finally found the courage to tell the truth. Just tell me what you need. Stay long enough to prove it? I was hoping you'd ask. She stopped talking after that. Not because the story had ended. Some memories just become harder to describe once they've stopped hurting. Strange, isn't it? By the time I took the last photograph, Evelyn wasn't holding the veil anymore. It stayed in the box beside her chair. The tension had left her shoulders. Her hands were finally still. And for the first time that evening, she looked straight into the camera, without asking permission to be herself. Some women come to my studio to preserve a memory. Evelyn came because she was finally ready to stop living inside one. And yes, she told me what happened after June finished with the pins. After the wet veil was left on the floor. After that first kiss became something neither of them wanted to end. That part of her story continues on Patreon. The link is waiting in the description. And yes, I know. Some of you already knew I was going to say that. If this confession stayed with you, leave a comment and tell me what you would have done if she had appeared at your door. Until the next woman steps into my studio, I'm Dahlia Voss, and I'll be listening.